guys, my name is Abby Andrew and welcome back to the René of Paris YouTube channel. I'm the Alopecia Ambassador for the channel, which means I discuss concerns relating to people with alopecia and hair loss. In today's video, I'm going to be going over makeup tips for covering up eyebrows, eyelashes, and just in general makeup tips for alopecia. So if you want to learn more about how I achieved this look, starting from pretty much no eyebrows and no eyelashes, then keep on watching. So let's get started on doing our makeup part of the tutorial. So I'm going to really focus on doing my eyebrows and how I would handle my eyelashes by showing you how I use fake lashes, but if you're not comfortable using fake lashes, I just have a couple other tips and tricks for covering up lack of eyelashes for alopecia. Now before I jump into the tutorial, I just want to be 100% clear that if you did lose your brows and lashes due to alopecia, remember that you are beautiful exactly how you are, and these makeup tips are just to kind of enhance the look if you feel like it, if you want to, but it's by no means necessary, it's just if you want to do your makeup like that. So I always want to promote the idea that you don't have to cover up your alopecia, but you can if you want to. So for starters, I already put on some moisturizer, and then after letting that set for a while, I put on a bit of concealer. I didn't want to go too much into detail with that part since I'm really going to be focusing on the aspects of makeup for like eyebrows and eyelashes. So I'm going to mostly gloss over the other aspects. So like I said, I already put on my concealer, but to set the concealer and make sure I have a nice base for my eyeliner and eyebrows, I'm going to just put a translucent powder over top of that. I find that my brows and eyeliner tends to last a lot longer throughout the day and stay looking nice if I do apply it to a nice dry surface. So putting translucent powder just gives you a really nice base to work with. So I'm going to jump right into the part of the video that I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching this for if you do have alopecia, and that's the eyebrows. So as you can see, I have alopecia, so this is what my brows naturally look like. I do have some really faint hairs actually, but you can't even tell because the hairs that I do have are super blonde, so it pretty much just looks like I have no eyebrows whatsoever. So I've been doing my eyebrows with makeup since I was about like 13 years old, and it took a lot of trial and error to figure out what worked for me. There's so many different types of tools you can use. You can use a pencil, which is a really great option, especially if you have a sharp tip on the pencil. You can really kind of draw on like individual brow hairs. And there's some alternatives that I haven't even tried yet. Like apparently there's like eyebrow temporary tattoos now that I know some people like. I haven't tried that. There's even like eyebrow wigs where people are like gluing fibers onto their eyebrow to really make it look realistic. I definitely want to try those at some point, but for now, I stick to my tried and true pomade method. So I just like to have a really basic like pomade product like this, and then I use an angled brush, and then I dip the brush in the pomade and draw on a really light-handed brow. A great tip for the first time you're starting this out is to always use a very light hand and layer it as you go, because if you go on too heavy, it's going to look a little bit too dark and harsh, whereas if you layer it with really light brow strokes, it's going to look more like a natural eyebrow. I typically go with a nice like medium brown color because then I can just use one product for if I'm wearing blonde wigs or if I'm wearing brunette wigs. So if I'm wearing a brunette wig, I just layer it more, and if I'm wearing a blonde wig, I just do it a little bit more lightly. So always do a very light amount of product on your brush. You don't want to overdo it or else it's going to look a little bit too like blocky. So here's a great tip for figuring out where to place your eyebrows on your face. This tip has like saved my life with eyebrow placement, especially when I was first starting to do my eyebrows. So if you take any sort of like brush, anything that's like a long stick-like shape, you can kind of use it to shape where your brows are supposed to be placed. So if you place it here in like this little part of your nose here, and you just put it straight up your brow, and you can make a little tiny dot on your brow there. That is where your brow is supposed to end. And you can do it on the other side too to make sure it is the same, symmetrical. Right now it looks crazy, but trust me, it's going to make sense when I'm done. Now put your brush in the same spot and line it up with your pupil while you're looking forward, and that's going to be where the highest point of your brow should go. And then likewise, you're going to put the brush on this part of your nose again, line it up with the corner of your eye, and then that should be approximately where your brow should end. And so now if you do that on both sides of your face before you start drawing on your brows, you have a really nice outline and guidelines for where your brow should go so they look symmetrical to each other. What is that classic phrase that everyone always says about eyebrows is they're supposed to be sisters, not twins? So don't be worried if your eyebrows aren't exactly perfect, but this just kind of gives you a nice guideline. So again, I'm going in with my angled brush very lightly for starters because you can always layer it. And again, I just do very, very light strokes upwards to try to mimic the look of individual hairs. So again, I start very, very lightly, kind of shape out both brows first, and then go back in and change them as I want to. And then if you do get some lines that are a little bit too dark, like some of these are a little bit too harsh, I just take the little spoolie on the back of my brush and just kind of very gently brush it out to kind of like blend that in a bit. And sometimes I shape it with my fingers a bit. There's always a little bit of trial and error pretty much every day that I do my eyebrows. Typically I do like a nice basic outline at the start of my makeup routine, and then when I'm done putting on all my makeup, I usually go back and touch up my eyebrows a bit more. So I'm sure by the end of this video, they're probably going to be a little bit different than they are right now. Just like to lay in the shape for starters. So like I said, I typically lay in my brows at the beginning of my makeup routine, do the rest of my makeup, and then revisit them at the end, so we'll see whatever changes I might make at the end of this video as well. I also do my eyebrows pretty differently depending on what wig I'm wearing for the day. I'm probably going to be wearing this wig. I'll get to that at the end of the video. Sometimes I wear my eyebrows a little bit thinner, sometimes I wear them a little bit thicker, sometimes I'll make them more arched if I'm wearing more of like a sassy hairstyle, but this is pretty much how I'd wear them on like a regular day. Now I'm going to move on to what I know is another major concern for people who are losing their hair with their makeup is eyelashes. So you have the option of wearing fake lashes, but it's not completely necessary if you want to cover up any eyelash loss. So for the longest time, I was not comfortable wearing fake lashes. I was just so terrible about with putting them on. I always messed it up. So I'm definitely going to share some tips and tricks for putting on fake lashes if you do have trouble with that, but I'm also going to show you a technique that I did so that I didn't even have to wear fake lashes back before I wasn't comfortable with them. And it's a pretty simple tip. My old strategy before wearing fake lashes was to just wear black liquid liner because I feel like it really just obscures that part of your face so people can't really tell if you're missing eyelashes. So I've been wearing cat eye liquid liner pretty much since I was in middle school. So it's just such an easy trick to do once you get comfortable putting it on. So I just use a really, really basic black liquid liner. I don't buy anything fancy. You definitely don't need to splurge on this item. You can buy it for really cheap at the drugstore or whatever. Just like my brows, my eyelashes definitely tend to come and go a lot. Sometimes they'll be completely gone, and then a couple months later I'll have like little baby eyelashes on the bottom, so it's pretty much very unpredictable. And even when they do grow in, they're usually very, very blonde and sparse anyway. So yeah, typically if I am trying to cover up loss of eyelashes, I do like to wear black liquid liner, and then I do like to wear a fake lash on top, which I'll get to in a minute. Another fun tip that I've been doing a lot lately for some reason, this might not be for everybody, but it's just something that I like to do to cover up loss of lower lashes, is just to kind of put very, very light little dots along the bottom, almost to give the illusion of lower lashes. So next I'm going to move on to some tips and tricks for if you do want to put on fake lashes. So if I am wearing lashes on a typical day and I'm going for a more natural lash look, I like to wear something like these, a little bit more sparse looking but still have a nice length. What I consider my natural lash might be a dramatic lash for somebody else, so it's very dependent on your style. I love a dramatic lash because like I said, these are my natural lashes, but if I'm going for a more dramatic look on a given day, I'll wear like really huge lashes. So again, for me, these are my natural lash, and for other people this might be a dramatic lash, so it just depends on what you like for your face. I typically wear my fake lashes to death. Like I'll wear them like dozens of times before they start falling apart, and then I'll buy a new pair and switch to a new one. But I will start with a new pair today just to show you guys how to put them on right out of the package. But before I jump into that, I will say there are some other alternatives to using traditional lash glue lashes these days. There are magnetic lashes. So typical magnetic lashes that have like the magnets on the band, there's one type where you have two different lashes and you kind of put them on and sandwich your own lashes in between, and that's how it sticks to your face. So if you don't have eyelashes like I don't, those won't work for you. But there's a really cool other product out there that you can look up from multiple different brands, where it's like a magnetic eyeliner. So you put on like a black eyeliner that I guess has some sort of metallic thing in it, and then you have one strip lash with magnets on it, and you can just pop that right onto the eyeliner. That's an amazing method for anyone that's not comfortable using lash glue. I've used them before and they're super easy to use, but I just find lash glue is a little bit easier in general once you get used to it, and it's a lot cheaper typically as well. So when you take a new pair of lashes out of the package, what you want to do is make sure it fits your eye shape. So you can do it just by holding it up to your eye and just seeing where it fits, and then just cut off the excess. And I typically like to cut from the end with the longer end, because it is nice to have the slightly shorter lashes on your inner eye to make it look a little bit more natural. Now when I'm putting on fake lashes, especially because I wear black eyeliner, I like to use lash glue that dries dark. You can also get lash glue that dries clear and dries white. I just feel like lash glue that dries dark just blends in really, really nicely if you're wearing eyeliner and other makeup on your eyes first. When you're using typical lash glue, make sure you're not using too much. That's another beginner's mistake for wearing lashes, and one that I used to always make, is I would put so much lash glue because I was so scared they would fall off on me, but sometimes less is more with lash glue. If you put a tiny little band on with traditional lash glue and let it kind of dry a little bit on the lash and get tacky for maybe 30 seconds before putting it on, it'll be much easier than if you put like a huge glob of lash glue and it's like dripping all over your face while you're trying to put them on. So definitely just less is more with lash glue. Lately I've been using a lash glue that is a quick dry lash glue though, and I just find that's very easy to work with because you don't have to wait for it to get tacky. You can just put it on the lash band and then it's pretty much good to go. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit on the lash band. So people who aren't familiar with wearing lashes regularly will ask me about re-wearing a pair of lashes, and like I said before, I definitely re-wear mine a bunch, and I actually find them easier to apply if you're re-wearing a pair, because once you've worn them a couple times, they kind of naturally fit your eye shape and kind of hold that shape, whereas a new pair can be a little bit harder to apply sometimes because it's still trying to like go in the shape that it was in the box. So this might be a little tricky to put on, so bear with me here. It's always so awkward to put on lashes on camera. So you want to put it as close to your waterline, like where your lashes would be growing, as you can, but just be sure not to get it too close to your actual eye. And then a lot of times when I put on a new pair of lashes, I like to kind of push them up a little bit as it's drying, very, very gently, just to make sure they don't droop in front of your eye. I'm not a fan of when my lashes droop in front of my eye, so you can prevent that just by very gently pushing it up while it dries. So I finished up the other lash off camera, and here's how it looks afterwards. So again, for some people these might be more of a dramatic lash. For me, this is what I usually wear for like a more natural look, just because I do love a dramatic lash. These kind of look like natural lashes that I've had eyelash extensions, whereas sometimes if I want to go like ultra glam, I'll wear ones that don't even look real. But I feel like that's the good thing about the fact that fake lashes are a big trend lately, is sometimes when people are insecure about having alopecia and they don't want people to know, they're super hyper careful of their wigs looking realistic, because then they don't want people asking questions about it because they don't want people to know they have alopecia. But with lashes, the good part about that is that wearing big dramatic lashes is a huge trend in makeup right now. So even if your lashes aren't super realistic looking, that's pretty normal, and no one's gonna like suspect you have alopecia just based on the fact you're wearing super glam lashes. So to finish off the makeup look, I'm just gonna add some blush, bronzer, highlighter, and a lip color, just super quick. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just to add a little more color to my face. I'm really into dramatic blush lately. Now I'm just gonna go in with a really basic bronzer. I like to do a tiny bit of bronzer on the sides of my nose for like a nose contour. And then I don't usually contour my cheekbones, but why not? Let's just do it for the video. And then I usually just blend that out with the same brush that I use for my translucent powder. Now let's go in with a cute little fan brush and put on a bit of highlighter. I like to put some on the high points of my cheekbones, and then also on the very tip of my nose. And then we'll just go in with a basic lip color to finish it off. And like I said, once I finish the rest of my makeup, I typically just go back in and double check that my brows are looking how I like them to. And a really great tip for seeing if your brows look okay, this is a really strange tip that I discovered by mistake, but if you have a smartphone, take your smartphone, take a selfie like a good distance from your face, just looking straight ahead, not making any expression, as like flat as you can get it, and then look at the picture after you take that picture, because sometimes when you're looking at a photo rather than in the mirror, it's a lot easier to see where your eyebrows are uneven. So sometimes I'll take a picture and like look at the selfie and one eyebrow will be like way up here and it just looks crazy, but then it helps me figure out what I need to fix. Right now I think I did a pretty decent job. I'm just gonna go back in and darken it just a little bit. Even though I'm wearing a very light wig color, I do like a darker brow. So here's my completed makeup look for my everyday alopecia makeup. So how I do my brows and lashes specifically to cover up hair loss for alopecia. Now to quickly touch on wigs that I like to wear for alopecia, my favorite go-to wigs is pretty much the whole Amore line. So I wore Cody, which is this wig, for years of my life and just always wore Cody from the age of like 13 to like 18 or so. I just find it such a fantastic wig for everyday wear. The length makes it so manageable and it just looks so natural and beautiful with the monofilament cap. So I definitely recommend Cody for a really nice, easy, everyday wig. I also love Tatum by Amore for a really great everyday wig. And those are just the synthetics, and if you are interested in getting a human hair wig, we also have the Fair Fashion line, which has some fantastic human hair options if you do like to be able to style the hair and all the benefits of having human hair as well. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you want me to film another makeup tutorial on the René of Paris channel going over a more glam makeup look, definitely comment that below as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.